whatever lens you have, whatever frame you're looking through in life, ultimately it shapes the narrative that you play in your head. So whatever that mindset is, that's exactly how you're going to view the world, whether it's negative or positive, pessimism, just any negative thinking, or optimism. If you're just purely optimistic, it shapes how you see things and what stories you play in your mind. Ultimately, one of the greatest assets is to have a perspective of gratitude. And we're going to delve into that today and talk about how that is going to best serve you and be a tool that is going to help you build the success and greatness that you ultimately believe is within you. Welcome back to another episode of the Brink of Greatness podcast, a space for you to reframe your failures, push towards success, and for those aiming to transform their mindset to more align with their God-given identity. I'm your host, Jonathan Marcus Thomas, and I can't wait to talk to you more about gratitude once again in our new studio. Welcome back, and let's go ahead and jump into it, because it is very important that we set some framework for where we're going to go with this, and then talk about the many different assets that come from it and that you can build from it on your way to success. Because if you don't have the right framework, if you're looking through the incorrect lens, you'll ultimately find out that you're either going to be blaming people all the time, or you're going to be in a space that's not conducive to you being successful, and always wondering, why isn't it my turn? Well, the way that you view the world is very integral to that fact. So unlike most times, we're going to jump straight into the word. Scripture tells you, and I love the red letters. You know what I'm saying? The red letters, every time you see red letters in the Bible, it's like, oh, okay, hold on, let me lock in, right? Because these are the words recorded from Jesus Christ. So Jesus says something that to this day still blows my mind, but I am working to build a framework where I can utilize that in an effective way, in a positive way. And it comes from John. And really, when you look at it, it's how you see the trials in your life and how you view the things that are difficult or tough will show and bring forth the fruit that no one can really touch or really understand. Because when you're going through all these things, but you don't look like what you're going through, it's very baffling to people. Ultimately, when you look back on it, it's like, man, I don't know how I got through it. I don't know how I did all this when all this was going on, or how I came out on the other side of this. Because if you look at it from the world standards, it's like, yo, I should have went crazy. I should have been out of my mind. But because I had that principle locked in, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, I was able to rise above that situation, whether it be health or family issues or financial issues, whatever the case may be. A lot of times people are going through things that you would never know. That's why you got to be careful with how you treat people. So when Jesus says, the red letters, here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. And there are many places in the Bible, even Jesus' brother go into it, James, talking about take joy. That's a whole nother topic, because that joint will throw you off if you're really going through something. Say, hey, take joy in this. And Paul goes into it deeper as well in Romans, when talking about trials and different things that you'll go through, in saying that it will bring forth endurance if you let it do its work. If you let whatever you're going through, if you take the jewels from it, if you take the gems, the lessons, it will build in you endurance, and it will also build your character. It will also build your character. So there is a purpose behind it, ultimately, is what I'm trying to share with you. There is a reason behind all of those things that we go through. But to have that perspective, if you go back to Christ, how he said, but take heart because I've overcome the world. So then it's like, okay, what did Christ do? What characteristics did he display that I should display to get beyond this and ultimately come out on the other side of a victor? So when I was looking at it, I was like, man, God, how did you do it? How did you do it? And ultimately, And I know I'm jumping ahead because, you know, I had this laid out how I wanted to deliver it to y'all. But it just feels like it's just very apt to get right into it. It's like you begin with the end in mind. And if you take nothing else from this video, that is the ultimate. Begin with the end in mind. Begin with the goal. Begin with the success. Begin with what do you expect to come on the other side of that difficult thing. And when you have that perspective and you lock into it in a somewhat crazy way where it makes no sense to no one else, a lot of the things that you do, a lot of the way that you move, the confidence that you have, the optimism you have, the joy that comes from you, it will throw everybody off. And it'll throw you off sometimes. Like, man, how am I so positive when in the face of all this trial, all this struggle? It's because you have a picture that you have fully engulfed yourself in, mind, heart, body, and soul, that this is what the end result is going to be. Jesus did all those things knowing his destiny, knowing that at the end of the day, he was going to end up on that cross. Take the weight of sin, separated from the Father, the whole nine, and still did everything he did, still loved people, the same people he knew who would betray him, still healed people, helped people, still sacrificed everything that he could have had because he came down in a lowly state. Could have came to be a king and ruled over in the sense of the physical world, but decided to come through as a servant. That's why it says the greatest among you will be servant of all, will be servant. So to have the gratitude, what is gratitude, right? And you got to think about perspective and motive. So I love my kids, and as I feel like I've shared with you, you know, we got 4 little ones. Me and my wife are blessed. Our quiver is full. And we try to give them a lot of agency. Not just because we're doing a gentle parenting thing, because because we want them to be able to, at certain ages and stages, be able to have their thoughts heard. You know, in some cases, it's, you know, like, oh, I need to have my thoughts heard all the time. No, that's not the case. Overcorrection. We're going to get back on track. Don't worry about it. But we are allowing them to, hey, like, we're going to explain this to you. Sometimes explaining is not necessary when we have to draw those lines and those boundaries. But also there's a time where it's like, I'm going to explain this to you because I believe that you're intelligent. I'm calling that intelligence out of you, and we are going to work through this. Sometimes that's, hey, it ain't going to shake the way you think it's going to shake because emotions be high. But one of the things they always ask is why? Like, what's the purpose behind it? What's the intention? And sometimes I realize with my oldest, she's not asking why because she doesn't want to do it or she wants to find a workaround. Sometimes it's like, okay, so what's the mechanism behind that? How does it work? And the beautiful thing about that is, not so much with me, but more so with others, I'll hear her explaining the same thing I explained to her. So to bring that back full circle, because, you know, with kids, sometimes it's more emotion than logic. But when she does that, I'm like, oh, she was asking me why because she wanted to know how it worked. When you look at gratitude, how that works is, the question when it comes behind the why and the purpose you're doing things and how to frame that lens is like, why am I having gratitude? The attitude of gratitude is to have a mindset of appreciation, to be thankful for those things because it could always be worse, as they say in the cartoons, and then it always keeps getting worse. Well, at least it's not this. It could be worse, and then it keeps compounding. And and the imagery of that really is it's also teaching a lesson where it's like, okay, we have all of these, depending on what situation you're in, everybody's in different situations, but here in America, in large part, in comparison to third world countries in situations, which some of them are in pockets here, and I've seen them, I've touched them, like, we take for granted the electricity we have, the running water, not just clean water, running water that we have access to. We can go hit up a restaurant. We can go to the fast food joint. We have transportation. Outside of having our own cars, we also have transit, like if you're in a big city, transportation. If you don't have a car and you got some bread, you call Uber. What's the other one? Uber, Lyft, and any other service that there is out there. Got cars that drive themselves now, and things are coming so fast, and then we're just adapting to it, but we're not realizing the level of convenience that we have. And yeah, that comes with the level of, whatever may have you. But even just the little things, to be able to have a certain level of freedom of speech that we have. We take a lot of things for granted, and the gratitude mindset allows you to put things into perspective, because things could be worse. Things can also be better. Let's not get it twisted. But a lot of the luxuries that we take for granted, HVAC, heat, like having the AC on, which is what we got on in the car, because not trying to overheat like we did last time. But there's an unlimited of things that you have to be appreciative for. You didn't have to make the sun. You didn't have to make the air flow the way it does, the trees to take the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and then turn it back into oxygen. There's so many things to be grateful. And when you have that mindset, that perspective, you look through that lens, it becomes a way of life where you don't take things for granted. The opportunities that you have, you move with a different pace, with a different vibration, with a different energy. So that's why having that attitude of gratitude, beginning with the end in mind, as Christ did, is such a beautiful combination of appreciation and how you attack the opportunities that you have in life. And I'm gonna leave you with a couple things before we get out of here, because as you get older, you see things that you weren't really locked into when you were a kid, nor did you need to be or have to be. I've seen a lot of my older family members go through a lot of health situations that some people would say were unnecessary or preventable, but long story short, they went through them. And thank God that there were different medical professionals here or there that were able to assist, that family members were able to step in the gap where there was no one. There were people there to take care of everybody. And then you see all these stories, especially in the sports world. You see it. When people recently, and it just keeps coming, but there was, which one? Well, I know there's been a lot of athletes. There's been a couple of athletes that I'm more privy to because I grew up cheering for them, like Brett Favre, Amon Green were quarterback, running back with the Green Bay Packers, and now they're dealing with Parkinson's. You look at Chris Johnson, the running back from the Tennessee Titans, who just came out talking about his battle with ALS, and people doing the ice bucket challenge and things of that nature for awareness, and hopefully also to put some funds behind and energy behind cures and remedies for that. And you see things like monster athletes, like cats that were doing the most incredible feats, getting praised and their bodies deteriorating. Or you see an older person who didn't take care of themselves early in life, and you see the results of that on the back end. I'm saying all that with a little bit more energy than I normally, or intensity that I normally come with, because realizing the little things, being able to walk, breathe on your own, do all these little things, we take for granted. And then when you see it stripped from someone that was fully capable, fully able, not only that, they used what they had to encourage people to bring entertainment, it's gone. So I tell you what I do in the gym, and then, like I said, I try to be before you for a good time, not a long time. When I'm in the gym, one thing, and I want you to have this for you, that I lock into is, this is an opportunity, not an obligation. This is something that I get a chance to do. This is not something that I'm laboring to do. Yes, it's difficult, but at the same time, I could be laid up in my bed with no ability. So let me give honor to God in the way that I take advantage of this opportunity. The other thing I get to say is I get to, I don't got to. So these are things that I rehearse in my mind before I get into my workout, just to get me in that right mindset. And I would say that it's giving dividends to my workouts, my mindset when I'm getting into it, when I go into it. And it translates not just in the physical world like that, but also like people, like other mental situations people have is like the clarity in their mind, clothing their right mind. There's a lot of things that people aren't able to do anymore. Like their memory is not what it used to be. They don't have the same wherewithal that they used to have. Like, you gotta have an attitude of gratitude and appreciate those things. And when you appreciate it, what comes forth from that is you doing it to the best of your ability. When we talk about the excellence that we operate in and the gratefulness that we walk in, that is what gratitude is. That it starts with just being appreciative, and then from that appreciation comes action. You know, the faith without works is dead. So the works come from that gratitude, because now that you have it, it's like, God, I'm going to use this gift, this opportunity, to bear some fruit that will be pleasing to you, and that will also be an asset to my family and loved ones. So with that, I really want, at the end of the day, for that tool to be something that you can use. I would ask that the next time you reach something that you see as an obligation or as a trial, that you would begin with the end in mind. You will begin with that victory set before you, with that success set before you, and you will operate from that place and have an unspeakable joy, an unspeakable intensity and wherewithal to be able to take the next step. You know what I'm saying? As we say, lay the next brick as you're building towards your success. And also, whenever you're going through something that seems like an obligation or you gotta do it, I would submit to you that you tell yourself, this is something I get to do, and this is an opportunity. And one more thing, there's a comedian, Michael Jr., and a lot of times, like, he'll go through, one of the things he does, and that's why I don't got to, because I've heard it before and I've said it before, but like, he locked it in when he came with this analogy. He was talking to a car mechanic, and he just asked him 7 different levels of why. Like, why do you do what you do, or what is the purpose behind it is what you do? And he was like, no, I fix cars. Okay, but why? Okay, why do you do that? And however many layers he went down, and ultimately he was like, man, you know, it's I ensure that people are able to safely reach their desired destinations. And it was like, they both had a moment where it was like, man, don't need no alarm clock now. I'm not just going to work on cars. I'm not just fixing, an AC. I'm making sure people get to their desired destination in a way that is safe and whole. That's gratitude in a nutshell. I appreciate y'all spending your time with me. It doesn't come lost on me. I pray that this tool, this insight, is something that you practice this week, this month, throughout this year, for the rest of your life, because it's truly an asset, truly has been a blessing to me, and I've seen it be a blessing to others. Go ahead, hit that like, subscribe button if this has touched you, and so we can get this out to as many people as possible, as we try to encourage people along their journey and be more aligned with the identity that God set forth at the beginning of time for us to carry out and to shine through as His image bearers. All right, until next time, I ask and pray that you're all able to take the next step and whatever it is on your journey, lay that next brick, and remember who you are. Remember that you are great. All right, peace. Take it easy.